from the heartland, where the highways run long, the skies run wide, and the night can feel a whole lot closer than most people realize. Good evening. Good morning, wherever you may be. Across Oklahoma, across the nation, and around the world. Tonight, we take you far from home, down to the neon waterfront of Miami. Because what happened there on New Year's Day 2024 didn't stay in Florida for long. Bayside Marketplace, a place built for crowds, music, and tourists. Until the mood snapped. People running, screams, reports of loud pops, sounds that many believed were gunfire. And then an emergency response so intense, so overwhelming, that it looked like the city was reacting to something far bigger than a street fight. Then the video surfaced, and the rumor caught fire. Aliens in Miami. Shadowy figures, towering silhouettes. Something, some say, moving through the chaos like it didn't belong in our world at all. Authorities say it was fireworks, a brawl, confusion that spiraled. But eyewitnesses, online investigators, and people who swear they saw what they saw insist there's more. So tonight, from right here in Oklahoma, we open the Bayside file. What really happened? What do the clips actually show?
And what does fear make the human mind add to the picture? And why did this moment turn into one of the most viral alien incident legends of the modern era? Stay right here. Because once you hear the timeline, the details, and the contradictions, you may not look at the story the same way again.
It's just one of those stories that it really demands you take a second look, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And after that intro, I mean, we have to dive in. It's this rare moment where the story didn't just get twisted. It feels like it completely broke in half.
It snapped. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it. We're not just looking at, a news report tonight. We are looking at a head-on collision between two totally different realities.
It really is. It feels like you're trying to watch two movies at once on the same screen. You've got movie A, which is like this gritty police drama.
Right.
You've got the scanner logs, the radio codes, police officers, teenagers. It's just a messy, very human situation.
And then there's movie B.
And movie B is a full-blown sci-fi horror film. We're talking interdimensional shadow creatures, secret government tech, massive cover-ups.
And our mission tonight, I guess, is to try and watch both movies at the same time. We have to figure out how we got from point A, a teenage brawl, to point B, an alien invasion.
So we're doing a forensic audit of a legend.
That's it, a forensic audit. We're dissecting it just like the internet did, but, with a little more hindsight and a much bigger pile of data.
And we really do have a serious pile of sources. We're not just skimming the headlines here. We have the official police statements. We've got the fact checks from places like PolitiFact, CBS, all the big ones.
Sure, but that's just one side of it. That's the official story.
Exactly. To really get the feel of that night, we dug into these incredibly detailed radio scanner transcripts. They were put together by a local radio hobbyist who goes by Arcrief.
And that transcript is, it's invaluable. It's the raw data of the panic. It lets you hear what the police were actually saying to each other before the official statements got written.
Before the PR team stepped in. And then on the other side of the coin, we have the Renegade Files investigation.
Ah, yes.
And that documents the, let's say, the wildest eyewitness claims. The stuff that definitely did not make it onto the 6 o'clock news.
And then there's the VFX artist.
Oh, we have to talk about him. We have an interview from the OS-verse with the visual effects artist who, well, let's just say he kind of accidentally became the official cinematographer for the alien invasion.
It's a perfect storm of information chaos. But, okay, before we get to the portals and the shadow people, we have to ground this in reality.
We need to set the stage.
We have to. Let's talk about the location itself, because Bayside Marketplace is not your typical mall.
Right. When I hear mall, I think of, a big box with a roof, food court in the center, an anchor store at each end, and doors you can lock. That's not Bayside.
Not at all. And that difference in architecture is it's the key to understanding why the police response looked the way it did.
Okay.
So Bayside opened back in 1987. It was designed by a guy named Benjamin Thompson, and his whole concept was the festival marketplace. Think of like Faneuil Hall in Boston.
Okay, so it's much more open. It's not contained.
Completely open. It's right there on the edge of Biscayne Bay. It's all these open-air corridors, walkways on the second story, gazebos, terraces looking over the water. There isn't really an inside or an outside. It's porous. It's a permeable membrane. That's a great way to put it. It connects right to the city marina, to the park, to the downtown streets.
Which means from a security point of view, you can't just lock it down. There's no button you can press to lock the magnetic doors and keep everyone in or out.
It is a containment nightmare, a total nightmare. And we also have to talk about the sound, the acoustics. You got concrete, glass, steel, and then open water right next to it. It's an urban canyon. Sound, it bounces everywhere. It gets amplified.
So if a firework goes off in
say, an open field, it's a pop.
It's a pop. But if that same firework goes off in a concrete corridor at Bayside,
It's a cannon shot.
it sounds like a cannon. And that really sets the stage for what happened on January 1st, 2024, New Year's Day. The place is packed. Tourists, locals, everyone.
And according to those police scanner logs, and again, a huge thanks to Artcreef for preserving them, the night didn't start with aliens.
No.
It started with something way more boring, a code 27.
Right, which in cop speak is just a theft, a larceny.
So around 8:30 p.m., the call comes in. A theft at Margaritaville.
Right.
Just a standard everyday call. Somebody skipped on a bill or grabbed something, but then almost right away you can hear the tone on the scanner start to change.
The officers on the ground start noticing something else is going on.
Yeah, they start talking about how dense the crowd is getting. On the private channels, they're asking each other, is something going on at the MTX arena? That's the Casilla Center next door.
They're wondering if there's a concert letting out or something, because suddenly there are just hundreds and hundreds of kids, of juveniles, all gathering.
And they're not just gathering, right? The mood is changing. The security guards start getting overwhelmed. Then the dispatcher comes on with a priority tone alert.
Which is never a good sound.
Never a good sound. Security says flat out, we can't hold them back. Then you get a report of a male with a knife. Then another one about groups of 50-plus kids pushing people, trying to push them toward the water.
This is the fog of war setting in. You have to put yourself there. It's dark, it's loud, there are thousands of people, and now you have these large roaming groups of teenagers. We're not talking about one little scuffle. This is a large-scale disturbance.
And then the match hits the gasoline.
The loud pops.
This is it. This is the moment the whole story pivots.
It's the single most important detail of the night. So the official investigation later confirms these were fireworks. Kids were throwing fireworks at each other, at shoppers, just causing chaos. But go back to what we said about the acoustics.
In that environment, a firework sounds exactly like gunfire.
It's indistinguishable, and you have to put yourself in the mindset of an American in 2024. In a crowded public place, you hear loud pops, you hear screams, you see a stampede.
Your brain doesn't think fireworks.
No. Your brain immediately defaults to active shooter. It's a conditioned response at this point.
The scanner logs just explode with it. You can hear officers, they're breathless on the radio. We got flagged down by multiple people for shots fired, 5 gunshots heard by the boats.
It wasn't just one report. It was this flood of confirmation bias. Everyone heard it, so everyone believed it. They thought they were under attack.
And that belief, that one belief, triggers a very specific protocol. A sergeant gets on the radio, and he makes the call that changes everything about that night. He says, we have an active shooter. Treat this as an active shooter call.
And that one sentence unleashes the citywide 3.
Can you just unpack that for us? What is a citywide 3?
A citywide 3 is, it's essentially the nuclear option for a police department. It's an all-hands-on-deck alert.
Okay.
It clears all the other radio traffic. It pulls every single available unit in the entire city, and often from neighboring towns, too. I mean, traffic cops, patrol officers, canine units, SWAT, detectives. Everyone drops whatever they are doing and they converge on that one spot.
So it's for, like, a catastrophic event.
It's reserved for events where they expect mass casualties, a building collapse, a terrorist attack, an active shooter.
So when people online were asking, why were there 100 police cars for a teenage fistfight? The answer is,
they weren't responding to a fistfight. They thought they were responding to a massacre in progress.
that's the critical disconnect right there.
It is. The visual evidence, that sea of flashing blue lights, the helicopters in the air, the tactical teams with rifles, all of that was a response to a phantom, to an active shooter that didn't actually exist.
But if you're a tourist, you're just standing there on Biscayne Boulevard watching this.
Yeah.
You see what looks like an army descending on this mall.
You see a war zone.
You see a war zone. And then the next day, the official news report says, oh, it was just some kids with some firecrackers.
And your brain just rejects that. It doesn't compute. That's cognitive dissonance kicking in hard. You think, no way, I saw an army. They don't send an army for fireworks. They must be hiding something.
And that gap, that huge gap between the massive response and the, frankly, kind of boring explanation.
That's where the conspiracy theories planted their flag. It created a truth vacuum. The official story just didn't feel heavy enough to balance the scales of what people saw with their own eyes.
So they went looking for something heavier to put on the other side.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we jump into that vacuum,
Yeah.
let's just close the book on the official police reality. After all the smoke cleared, after the citywide 3 was called off, What did they actually have?
Well, for all that apocalyptic level response, the actual results were minimal. They only made 4 arrests.
Just 4.
4 teenagers. And the charges were things like burglary, grand theft, battery, resisting arrest.
And there was that one pretty bad incident, right? A driver got attacked.
Yeah, that was nasty. A guy was driving by, unrelated to the main thing, and a bottle got thrown at his car. He made the mistake of getting out of his car to confront them.
Oh, no.
And he was beaten by a group of about 15 teens. He ended up in the hospital. So it was violent for sure, but it was very human violence, terrestrial violence.
And just to be crystal clear on the official denial, officers, Michael Vega and Rafael Horta, they went on the record later because the rumors were just spinning out of control.
He had to.
And they said, quote, no aliens, UFOs, or ETs.
Officer Horta even made a video. He went on Instagram, looked right at the camera and said, I can confirm to you all here today, right now, that there are no aliens in Miami.
Which is a sentence he probably never thought he'd have to say in his career.
I'm gonna guess that's not in the police academy training manual.
So, okay. That's movie A, police procedural. Confusion, acoustics, a big misunderstanding. Case closed.
Great. Well, if it were that simple, we wouldn't be doing this deep dive.
Because while the police were busy filing paperwork, the rest of the world was watching helicopter footage. And they saw something that wasn't in any police report.
They saw the Shadow Man.
And this is where we transition into movie B, the visual anomaly. This is where it goes viral.
Shows us the spark.
There was this one specific video. It was everywhere. It was shot from, I don't know, a high-rise apartment or a news chopper, looking straight down at the entrance to the mall. And down there, in all the chaos and flashing lights, people spotted this figure.
A huge, gray, towering figure just walking slowly, right in front of the police line.
People were absolutely losing their minds. They were screenshotting it, zooming in, saying it was 10 feet tall. They said it looked like a classic gray alien. You know, the big head, long limbs.
And the weirdest part was its movement. It was just strolling, like it was completely unbothered by the chaos around it.
So we have to look at this image really carefully because it's a perfect example of pareidolia. Our brains need to find patterns in static.
It is. When you look at the debunking analyses and they break down the perspective and the camera angles, the giant just sort of melts away.
So what are we actually seeing in that video?
What you're most likely looking at is 3 police officers. 3 cops walking side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Think about the angle. It's a very steep top-down view. The camera resolution is terrible. It's all grainy and zoomed in. It's night, so the shadows are long and distorted.
So when they walk in sync like that,
the gaps between them just disappear into the shadows. They merge. They're 3 separate silhouettes combine into one single, wide, bulky shape.
And the shadows make it look taller than it is.
Exactly. The shadows stretch out and it messes with your perception of its height compared to the cars and the building. It's a classic optical illusion. But because the internet was already primed to be looking for something weird,
They found it.
they found it.
But there was another weird visual detail from the scanner logs that I think added to this whole strange bodies idea. The mannequin. This is one of those details that's just too strange to be made up.
Oh, this is a fantastic little detail from the archive transcript. It just shows how surreal the night was. So at the peak of the chaos, an officer comes over the radio. He sounds panicked. He reports seeing a kid climbing up a wall.
Yeah, I got the quote right here. He says, he has a rope in his hands with a noose on it. It looks like he's going to hang himself.
I mean, just a terrifying thing to see, an immediate crisis. But then a few seconds later, a sergeant gets on the radio and corrects the report. He says, he hung a big mannequin. It's only a mannequin.
Wait, why on earth did they have a mannequin?
Who knows? Maybe they looted it from a store during the chaos. Maybe it was some bizarre prop they brought with them. But just think about the visual of that.
Right. If you're a bystander, you're running for your life, you glance up and you see this limp, human-shaped thing being hauled up a wall or dropped from a railing.
Your brain just registers body. It registers lifeless figure, weird proportions. That visual gets logged in your memory. And then later, when you hear people talking about aliens and strange bodies, your brain goes, wait a minute, I did see something weird. I saw a limp body.
It creates a false memory. It confirms a bias you didn't even know you had.
It's like a fever dream, and you're just trying to piece it all together.
But honestly, the thing that poured the most fuel on this fire wasn't what people saw, it was what they didn't see. the whole blackout theory.
This was the #1 argument online. It's the old Sherlock Holmes dog that didn't bark thing. People were saying, it's 2024, everyone has a smartphone. If 50 teenagers were rioting, where are the TikToks? Where's the World Star video?
It's a really good question. I
Yeah.
mean, a fight breaks out at a Waffle House, and we have 5 different camera angles on Twitter in an hour. This was hours of chaos, thousands of people, and nothing. Barely any clear footage of the actual brawl.
So Arcreef, the guy who put the logs together, he has a really smart counter-argument for this. He points out a couple of things. First, who are the main people involved in the brawl?
The teenagers
Right. And what are they doing?
committing crimes. Looting, fighting, assault.
Criminals generally don't film themselves committing felonies. They didn't want to create evidence that could be used against them.
Okay, that makes sense for the people starting the trouble. But what about all the victims? All the bystanders?
That goes back to the active shooter mindset. The bystanders didn't think they were watching a fist fight they could film for social media.
They thought they were in the middle of a mass shooting.
Exactly. If you think someone is spraying bullets into a crowd, you're not trying to get a good angle for your Instagram story. You are running. You are hiding. You're trying to survive. The lack of footage is actually perfectly consistent with a mass panic event.
That's a very chilling but very logical point. But the conspiracy theorists, they had a much different explanation. They didn't blame fear.
They blame the kill switch.
The idea that the government or the police or someone jammed all the signals, cut the power, created a media blackout to stop the truth from getting out.
Right. You saw all these anecdotal reports online. My phone just stopped working. I couldn't get a signal. My phone just wrecked.
So, is there any truth to that?
Well, the scammer logs themselves prove the radios weren't jammed. The cops were talking to each other nonstop for hours. As for the power, the local utility, FPL, they did report some localized outages, but there wasn't some big citywide blackout ordered from a secret bunker.
But try telling that to Mo.
Ah, yes. We have to talk about Mo.
Mo is the person who really kicked the door to this whole thing wide open. This was a user on X, formerly Twitter, who posted this huge long thread on January 5th, a few days after it happened. And that thread it exploded. It became the gospel of the alien theory.
And notice the timing. It's a few days later. The vacuum has formed. People are desperate for an explanation that makes sense. And Mo comes along and serves one up on a silver platter.
Mo wrote, and it was in all caps, which really adds to the drama. I was at the Miami Mall yesterday, and the government is lying. There were no kids fighting.
A direct contradiction, the classic whistleblower opening. What they're telling you is a lie.
And then Mo describes the creatures. The description is so specific, not just a shadow. Mo says, gray creatures walking around, no bones, could turn their heads all the way around.
That no bones detail is so interesting. It suggests a certain fluidity, you know. It's not a robot. It's not a monster. It's something that violates our understanding of biology. It's
Exactly
just
right.
wrong.
And then there's the tech angle. Mo claimed, I tried to take a video, but every time I would try to, it would just bug out.
The glitch. It's a very convenient trope in modern paranormal stories, but it's effective. It explains away the lack of evidence while adding this layer of high-tech weirdness. The aliens are so advanced our iPhones can't handle them.
But this is the part that sent everyone down the rabbit hole. Mo claimed the creatures could teleport. They were phasing through walls, disappearing and then quickly reappearing somewhere else.
And that's a huge shift in the narrative. This isn't aliens landed in a spaceship anymore. This is now interdimensional beings are breaking through. It implies they aren't just physically present, they are manipulating physics itself.
Mo even said they walked right through glass displays in stores, and that the police set up a perimeter not to catch anyone, but to check people's phones on the way out and delete any photos or videos.
Which, if it were true, would perfectly explain the lack of footage. It closes the whole loop. But we have to be clear, right? This is an anonymous, unverified text post on social media. But it hit all the right notes. It was scary, it was detailed, and it confirmed what a lot of people already wanted to believe. The government is lying.
And once that door to the interdimensional was open, people ran right through it. Which takes us to the Renegade Files investigation.
Okay, so now we're leaving the world of simple misunderstanding, and we are entering deep, deep, high strangeness mythology.
Yeah, we looked at the transcript from their deep dive, and they uncovered a story that makes Mo's account seem, frankly, pretty tame. They introduced this idea of the realm hackers.
This is a fascinating bit of modern folklore. It centers on a supposed group that calls itself Above and Below.
According to an eyewitness account they found, there was a man sitting on a bench at the mall before any of the chaos started. He sees three young guys, not the big group of rioters, just three guys, sitting nearby with some kind of device.
And this device, it wasn't a laptop or something. The description is very, like, steampunk. An RFT box, a radio frequency tuner that was hooked up to a modified pressure cooker.
A pressure cooker,
Hmm.
like the kitchen appliance.
Apparently, but a heavily modified one. The witness claimed it had a copper-wrapped obsidian core inside, and it was filled with something called red mercury.
Okay, hold on. Red mercury. I feel like I've heard that term in spy thrillers or something. What is that?
Well, red mercury is one of the great phantom substances. If you talk to a scientist, they'll tell you it's a hoax. It's a myth. Something con artists have been trying to sell to wannabe terrorists for decades, claiming it's a key ingredient for a simple nuclear bomb.
But in the conspiracy world,
In the fringe world, it's real. It's like the Philosopher's Stone. It's this incredibly powerful, incredibly rare substance that can supposedly do amazing things, like bend space-time.
so the theory is that these three guys, with their pressure cooker full of red mercury, used radio frequencies to create a swell.
A tear in the fabric of reality. A portal.
The witness claims he saw the box pop, a black void appeared, and out of this void came 10-foot-tall shadow creatures moving in slow motion.
It's an incredibly cinematic image, and it connects directly back to what Mo was saying about them phasing and teleporting. The idea is that these teens didn't just start a fight. They hacked the realm.
And the witness said he ran into the same three guys later, in the middle of all the chaos, and he asked them who they were. Their reply was, above and below, real makers.
I mean, it's an amazing story. It has secret societies, weird tech, monsters. It's a ready-made movie script.
But what are the monsters in this version? They're not just invaders trying to take over, are they?
No, and this is where the mythology gets really specific. The Renegade Files describes them as corrupted energy leeches. The idea is that they're not malicious, necessarily. They're just famished and lost.
They're here to feed
They feed on fear, on intense human emotion.
on dopamine and terror.
Exactly. It's a concept called louche in some of these circles. The idea that extreme panic and terror create a kind of psychic energy that these entities can consume.
So a packed shopping mall that suddenly turns into a stampede?
Isn't all-you-can-eat buffet. They didn't cause the panic to invade. They were drawn to the panic to feed.
Wow. And this theory even has an explanation for the massive coordinated police response, the CELL protocol.
Right. CELL. If you assume the authorities know about these things, then they must have a protocol to deal with them. The theory is that CELL is a containment method that uses directed sound waves
Sound waves. To do what?
to herd the entities, to push them back towards the portal. The theorists argue that the police lines moving in these coordinated waves, ignoring the looters, that wasn't riot control.
It was a herding operation.
Using sonic weapons to push interdimensional energy vampires back into a portal that was opened with a pressure cooker.
When you say it like that, it's just...
It's an incredible alternate narrative. And the thing is, from a storytelling perspective, it's perfect. It explains everything. Why the huge response, CELL protocol, why no video, the entities glitch cameras, every single hole in the official story is perfectly patched by the supernatural one.
But sometimes the supernatural gets a little bit of help from digital artists. We have to bring up Bill Well's-Sea-Doo.
Ah, yes, the great blurring of art and evidence.
While all these text-based rumors are flying around about realm hackers and red mercury, a video suddenly appears that seems to show exactly that.
Tall, shadowy aliens walking right past the hall.
And this video got something like 11 million views overnight. It went completely nuclear. For millions of people, this was it. This was the smoking gun. See? It's on video. The news is lying.
But we have the transcript from the OSverse where they interviewed the creator, Bill Well's-Sea-Doo. He's a professional VFX artist, and he's totally open about what he did.
He didn't film aliens.
He made them. He used Blender, which is a 3D animation program, and other visual effects tools. He admitted that he made the video because the rumor was already trending. He saw the aliens in Miami, hashtag, read the descriptions, and thought, hey, I can visualize that.
He said his goal was to unite reality with imagination.
Right. He took the real audio from the scene, the sirens, the helicopters, which gives it that feeling of authenticity. And then he just composited his own CGI alien models into the scene.
The irony is just staggering.
Yeah.
He made it to illustrate what the rumor looked like, and the internet took it as proof that the rumor was true.
It's a perfect storm of confirmation bias. People were desperate for visual proof. So when a video appeared that showed them exactly what they wanted to see, they didn't stop to ask, could this be fake? They just said, finally, the truth.
He even said he deliberately made it look low quality.
No.
He added camera shake and grainy filters to make it look like it was filmed on a cheap phone. He basically made a found footage horror clip in real time.
And he makes a really important point about it. He talks about shallow fakes. We're all worried about deep fakes and AI, but this wasn't that. This was just good old-fashioned CGI that a talented artist can do pretty quickly. You don't need a supercomputer to fool millions of people anymore.
There was another moment of, let's call it interpretive confusion, that came right from the police scanner. This was a little funnier in hindsight. The gingerbread man.
Oh, this is a classic case of people looking for secret meanings where there aren't any.
So on the scanner, right in the middle of everything, the dispatcher says, "Assemble second group at the Christmas decorations," and big gingerbread man.
Now, if you're listening to this and you're already convinced there are 10-foot-tall aliens running around, what do you hear?
You hear code, big gingerbread man. Is that the code name for the lead alien? Is that the target?
People were online actually dissecting this. The gingerbread man must be the entity.
That's the reality was.
It was January 1st. The mall still had all its Christmas decorations up, and there was literally a giant inflatable gingerbread man decoration in the courtyard.
So it's just a landmark, like saying meet by the fountain.
Exactly. Meet by the big gingerbread man. It just goes to show when you're hunting for a conspiracy, everything starts to look like a clue.
Okay, so we have the official story, a brawl. We have the viral story, a portal. And we have the digital art and misunderstandings that connected them. But the big question is, why did this particular story stick so hard? Why aliens? Why not terrorists or a gang war?
I think you have to look at the exact moment in time this happened, January 2024. The cultural soil was perfectly fertile for this specific seed to grow.
You're talking about the Epstein client list.
The Renegade Files brings this up, and it's a crucial piece of context. The unsealing of the Jeffrey Epstein documents was happening right at the same time.
And there is, to put it mildly, a massive amount of public distrust surrounding that entire case.
Colossal distrust. So when you have this huge controversial news story about to drop, one that could implicate very powerful people, and then suddenly the entire internet is distracted by aliens in Miami.
A lot of people see a connection. They see a psyop.
Look over here at the shiny aliens. Don't pay attention to these court documents. It feeds right into that pre-existing belief that the media and the government will create distractions to protect the powerful. So when they say it was just teens, the public's response is, yeah, right, what are you really trying to hide?
And then you throw pop culture on top of that distrust. We mentioned Stranger Things before.
The Stranger Things parallel is uncanny. Think about season 3 of that show. Where does the giant monster come from?
An interdimensional gate.
Where's the gate?
Underneath the Starcourt Mall.
And how did the kids fight the monster at the end?
With fireworks.
With fireworks. You have a mall, an interdimensional monster, teenagers, and fireworks. It's the exact same set of ingredients.
That is genuinely eerie when you lay it all out like that.
So if you're inclined towards conspiracy, you don't see that as a coincidence. You see it as predictive programming, Hollywood preparing us for what's to come. But even if you don't go that far, you can't deny that Stranger Things gave everyone a visual and narrative vocabulary for this event. We all knew what a mall portal was supposed to look like because we'd already seen it on Netflix.
It's life imitating art, which is then interpreted as proof of a conspiracy, a total feedback loop.
And it all happened so fast. As Bilawal Sidhu said, a lie will walk a mile before the truth gets its boots on.
In just 4 days, the narrative went from kids fighting to CELL protocols and realm hackers using red mercury.
And that detail, red mercury, that shows you how these things work. It's not a new idea. It's an old piece of Cold War lore that got grabbed and plugged into this new event. These legends are like magnets. They just pull in bits and pieces from every other conspiracy theory out there.
It really was a perfect storm. Holiday night, rowdy teenagers, fireworks in a concrete canyon, a police force already on edge who think they're walking into a mass shooting.
And an internet that was bored and looking for a mystery.
Plus, that visual void, the lack of clear video of the actual fight, left this big empty space in the story. And the human imagination will always fill a void with something more interesting than teenagers shoplifting.
We want the world to be more mysterious than it is. We want there to be monsters and portals.
So we've laid it all out. We know the police response was real, the fear was real. But here's the one thread that I just can't stop pulling on as we wrap this up.
What's that?
Okay, so let's say the realm hackers are just a stooky story from the internet. Let's say the shadow aliens were just three cops walking together, and the gingerbread man was just a Christmas decoration.
Okay.
Why is there still no clear, definitive video of the 50-person brawl that supposedly started it all?
That is the one piece that still doesn't quite fit perfectly.
We live in a world where everything is recorded. We film our food. We film traffic jams. But on a night when dozens of teenagers supposedly went on a riot, beating people up and triggering a citywide emergency response, the cameras were all mysteriously pointing the other way.
It brings us right back to that unsettling idea.
Sometimes the most suspicious thing isn't what you see in the footage. It's the footage that doesn't exist at all.
And I think that's why this legend has legs, because the simple explanation, "it was fireworks," just doesn't feel heavy enough to explain that silence.
Well, I think that's more than enough for us to chew on tonight. Whether you land on the side of the RFT box or the police blotter, one thing is definitely for sure. Bayside Marketplace will never look quite the same to a lot of people.
Not at all. And it's a good reminder to question every narrative, the one from the police scanner and the one from the dark corners of the web. The truth, if it's anywhere, is probably lost in the static between them.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the neon shadows of Miami. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows.